Hello everyone, welcome back to part 7 of Road to the New Mutants. Today, we made it. We made it to the big one, the climax of the saga. X-Men, Days of Future Past. Before I get into what I have to say, which is a lot, let me send the floor down to a friend I know who have been friends with YouTube a long time, Mr. Joshua Drake, aka futurefilmmaker39840. Take the stage, buddy.
Hello guys, this is Joshua from futurefilmmaker39480 Reviews. I'm over here at the Title Master's channel doing this little Road to New Mutants series with him, and he invited me on to talk about X-Men Days of Future Past, one of my favorite X-Men movies. And I have the DVD copy of the theatrical version here because I don't have the road cut, but I will mention the road. If I'm going to refer to this movie, I will say I love the theatrical version, but I will be mainly focusing on the road cut because the road cut is the version that I prefer. But either version I do still love to watch. When it comes to X-Men Days of Future Past, I remember seeing the trailers and hearing about this. We got a new X-Men movie with First Class and the trilogy. I'm like, yes, this is awesome. This is epitastic. And then with Bryan Singer returning as well. And then with the cast of the First Class actors as well as the original trilogy coming back, telling one of the most darkest and one of the most ambitious X-Men stories with Days of Future Past. This had a big task to follow because not only it had to bring the X-Men series in full force with a story like this, but also it has to continue the First Class era as well as right the wrongs of the franchise continuity errors that were done with X-Men 3 and X-Men Origins Wolverine. So when it comes to Days of Future Past, I'm not going to go over the plot, of course, since everyone has seen the film, but I have to say that this was a nice return to form for the X-Men series. Some people said this should have been the last X-Men movie, but I will have to say Days of Future Past. To me, this and X-Men Apocalypse are the two last good X-Men movies. New Mutants, we'll see what happens because that movie's been pushed back more than once. But let's just say right now that this movie is great. This is one of the best comic book movies of the last decade. It's definitely one of the best movies of the last decade. And it's one of my favorite comic book movies and one of my favorite movies of all time. This is number 27 in my favorite movies of all time for a reason. And mainly because of the story of this movie. This movie has a big story to tell. Having the original trilogy of X-Men actors and having Wolverine go back in time to find a younger Beast, a younger Magneto, and a younger James McAvoy as Charles Xavier. Yes, he drinks, but you know what? It's different for his character. And I have to say that him going back in time to not only stop Bolivar Trask and to stop Mystique from what she's going to do, I really bought this story, and mainly because of Simon Kinberg's well-written screenplay. He's a hit-and-miss writer and a hit-and-miss producer, still has to show what he can do as a director, and Dark Phoenix wasn't really it. But when it comes to this movie, I have to say that this is one of the best scripts I've ever witnessed. One of the best scripts I've ever witnessed. And for this movie being 2 hours and 10 minutes or 2 hours and 29 minutes, I'm never bored when it comes to this. I was sitting there enjoying it. The emotional aspects, I love the thematic aspects. Like, if Mystique does this, she will cause death to not only the First Class, but also in the future. And so Wolverine going back in time to right these wrongs, I thought that was a very amazingly way to go. And Bryan Singer's direction and is what combined with the script of Simon Kinberg makes this an automatic winner. But you cannot talk about how good Days of Future Past is and not mention how great the performances are. Hugh Jackman, of course, always great as a Wolverine. You're not going to find anyone better, at least until the MCU incarnation. Even with the new Wolverine, it still won't be as good as Jackman. He is great here. He has to show a lot of emotion, and he has to be the one to tell Magneto and Charles that they have to help him. And not only he's great, but I also think James McAvoy is really great as a younger Xavier. He has to go through some heavy, hard-hitting stuff, having to save his sister from damn near killing out the mutant race, and him having to go through the process he does in this movie. It's a great character transition. This is the best I've seen of James McAvoy in this X-Men series. And Michael Fassbender, even he has to go through a character arc too, and he does a really great job and gives one of the greatest speeches I've ever heard at the end of this movie. But also the rest of the cast here, Jennifer Lawrence, I think she is phenomenal as Mystique. Say what you want about her in Dark Phoenix, even she didn't want to be there, and I was perfectly fine with them killing her off there. But I wish it was done with much more subtlety. But Jennifer Lawrence, this is her best as Mystique. I like her in First Class, and I really like her in Apocalypse. But in First Class, I think she was just, Dark Phoenix. And the rest of the cast here, the returning cast of the original trilogy, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, Ellen Page, Sean Ashmore, and Anna Paquin in the Road Cut. The Rogue Cut is definitely my favorite version, and when you do get the Rogue in the Rogue Cut, it's worth it. The 17 additional minutes that they added in that cut is very well done. But also, Peter Dinklage, yes, my guy from Game of Thrones, he is great here. And I like him as an actor. He's pretty awesome as Bolivar Trask, but also the Sentinels are very well designed. Very great production design work, visual special effects went into that, and they just did it perfectly, as well as the visual effects. The visual effects supervisors and everyone who put $200 million into this masterpiece did a great job, especially Bryan Singer. And the score by John Ottman, I think, is very well nice, as well as the editing. Also, I think just the introduction of Quicksilver and his first Quicksilver moment, really fun, really funny. And then the end of the movie where you do get that awesome, that awesome conclusion when everything is fixed and you see the young older Cyclops and older Jean Grey alive, erasing X-Men The Last Stand. You do all of that to set up the timeline and to fix everything. That's awesome. So honestly, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I do want the Tater Master to say throne. But I'm going to say, if you ain't seen Days of Future Past, definitely get off your ass and see it. This movie is great. I'm going to give this a Spider-Verse seal of approval. So thank you guys for watching my review of Days of Future Past over at Tater Mister's channel. If you are new to his channel, be sure to come over to my channel. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification because I do upload a lot live streams to post my community tab. Otherwise, you're not going to get every notification if you don't hit the bell. All my social media links are over there. You guys keep it cool, join the Epitastinus, and I'll see you guys later. Thank you, Tater Master.
Now, I haven't watched the Road Cut personally, but I mean, I've seen clips of it. But yeah, this is quite a movie. Thank you again, future filmmaker Joshua Drake, for coming on to this review with me. It's been an honor. I'm glad you agreed to be on this, but now for my thoughts. This is the best X-Men movie. That's an X-Men movie, not counting Logan, which I'll get into later. But this is definitely the Dark Knight of this second trilogy. This is one of the best comic movies ever made. No doubt about it. Even the haters of this franchise can admit X-Men Days of Future Past is incredible. I mean, from beginning to end, it is glorious. There's just nothing quite like it. I mean, when I first watched this movie, you know, I heard a lot of hype around it. I regret not seeing Days of Future Past in the theater. I honestly don't know why I didn't, but I watched it later. A lot of these movies I watched later. In fact, the only movies I saw in the theater were Deadpool, Logan, which I'm glad I saw Logan in the theater, Deadpool 2, and I didn't see Apocalypse. But yeah, those are the the only ones I've seen in theaters are the rated R ones, ironically. But yeah, so Days of Future Past. I mean, what hasn't been said about Days of Future Past that hasn't been said already? I can go on a spiel here, for real. I mean, I'm trying to think of a clip to play. I'll play the clip with them on the plane.
If you want to fight, Eric, I will give you a fight!
Let him come.
You abandoned me! You took her away and you abandoned me!
Angel. Azazel. Emma. Banshee.
Mutant brothers and sisters, all dead!
Countless others! Experimented on! Butchered!
Eric!
Where were you, Charles? We were supposed to protect them! Where were you when your own people needed you? Hiding! You and Hank, pretending to be something you're not!
Eric!
There's just so much emotion and acting in this film. I mean, I'm gonna stand by. This is easily Bryan Singer's best movie. Now, I've not seen Usual Suspects, but there's no effing way it's better than this. Like, if the franchise had ended here, I would have been alright with that. I'm glad we got Logan. I'm glad we got Deadpool 2. I'm very much glad we got those. But if this was the ending, if this was the last movie, it would have been a perfect ending. Because let me tell you, it's just amazing. Bro. I mean, right at the start, you know the stakes are high.
They're here!
I mean, bro. Some people don't like the Sentinels design. Understandable. But it worked for me 100%. These Sentinels are terrifying. You just know the overwhelming threat of these guys. Like, there's nothing they can do to stop them. Like, nothing. They are true Sentinels. And the Sentinels in the show and the Sentinels in the past, they're not that strong. But the ramifications of what Mystique does it carries on to the future. And the fact, and I love what the movie does with time. It shows things can grow over time. There's things you can do in time. This movie's all about time. And that's why I want a future filmmaker on it, because he wants to be a future filmmaker. You know, I thought he fit well, but so I'm a little itchy, but so what's really been said? I mean, damn. I mean, just Wolverine is so great in this movie. Everybody is so great in this movie. It is unbelievable. It really is. It's a movie I'm gonna watch and rewatch for years to come. It means a lot to me. It really does. Bro, from the score to the writing to the beautifully pacing, from the introduction of Quicksilver, who has one of the most epic scenes in this movie, by the way. Not as epic as the Apocalypse scene, obviously, but it's still a great scene. From the Charles Xavier exchanges, from Charles trying to realize he can be a better person. He doesn't have to be this drunk guy. He can be good again. From Mystique's decision, from the future, how despair it is, and like how hopeless it all seems. I mean, this movie touches on a lot of there's so many moments in the movie I get emotional and I tear up, especially the scene where Charles sees his future self.
Charles. So this is what becomes of us. Eric was right. Humanity does this to us.
Not if we show them a better path.
You still believe?
Just because someone stumbles, loses their way, it doesn't mean they're lost forever. Sometimes we all need a little help.
I mean, bro, you just feel the energy in this film. Like you feel when Charles talks to. Imagine if you had to talk. If you talk to your future self, and you see what's going on. I mean, it's the only. This is the one and only critique I really have with this movie, and that's Wolverine didn't fight in the final scene, which I get it. He's nothing really can do against Magneto, but still. I don't know. That is like my only critique, if I can come up with one for this movie, because I mean, jeez. I mean, the whole scene with Mystique, you know, with Charles and Mystique and her final decision was just, it's the best scene in the movie, no doubt. Bruh, every time I get to that part, I cry. It is so fucking... I mean, I'm just tearing up thinking about it. It is so masterfully done. And then seeing them all happy at the end and the gloriousness of it all. It's just... It's unbelievable what they did with this film. It really is. It is the climax of the saga. From 1 to 6, it all led up to this. And it was... It's like, I equate it to Avengers Endgame. Now, it's not on the level of Avengers Endgame, but it's definitely the endgame of this series. I mean, it's about as much the most X-Men of a climax you could have got. I mean, wow. Now, if you were to watch this movie and never seen any other ones before it, I don't think it would have the same impact. I'll admit that. It's like watching Endgame without watching all the movies before it. You would not have the same impact. But, man... See, Logan you can go into and not having seen any of the others. Wolverine, a lot of the movies you can go in without even seeing any others. But for Days of Future Past, I do feel you need to watch all the others before to really get the full experience. I mean, same with Apocalypse, too. Those two movies, I feel like you need to watch a few before you actually watch them to get the full experience. Because... Now, okay, for this one, I suggest watching all of them except X-Men Origins Wolverine. You could skip that one, but First Class, Wolverine, 1 to 3, you should all watch before you watch Days of Future Past to get the real, full, emotional experience you get from watching Days of Future Past. It is gripping. It really is. Complex, gripping, fantastical action sequences, fantastical Magneto moments. it's just a beautifully, epically made movie by Bryan Singer. You can say Bryan Singer's a bad person. You can say he's done some messed up stuff. But the one good thing he gave to the world was X-Men Days of Future Past. You cannot deny him that. You can say any shit you want about Bryan Singer, but you cannot deny how great X-Men Days of Future Past truly is. I don't call it a masterpiece, but it's definitely close to being one. It's just fantastic. There's not more I can say. It's just freaking fantastic. Like, unbelievably damn fantastic. There's hardly a critique I can give it. It's just damn that fantastic. Like, I just can't come up with any negatives, really. It's hard to do it. Like I said, the one I have is when Wolverine doesn't have much to do. I wish he had more to do in the final battle. He kind of gets fodderized at that part. He gets thrown into the ocean or whatever. Which, I mean, I get it. He had his impact in the time travel. If he hadn't gone back, none of that stuff would have happened. Mystique wouldn't have dropped the gun if Wolverine had to convince Charles and Magneto to go. But I kind of wish he had more to do in the final battle, because it kind of felt like, you know, it kind of sucked that he got the fodderized. Another critique is the last clip. The final last clip.
Countless choices define our fate. Each choice, each moment, a ripple in the river of time.
What do you want us to do with them, Major Stryker?
Enough ripples, and you change the tide.
I'll take him from here.
For the future is never truly set.
Alright, cool and all. Mystique, you know, that is a cool final shot, but it doesn't make sense in the long term, because Apocalypse doesn't really... It'd be cool if Apocalypse actually made sense of that part, but it doesn't. That part literally makes no sense. He's supposed to get by Stryker eventually, right? So why is Mystique there? I never quite got that. Other than that, though, other than those two little things, X-Men Days of Future Past, like I said, it's amazing. It's one of the best comic movies ever made. No doubt. No flock. Row cut or not. Row cut probably makes it better, but who cares? It's an amazing film. So, with that all being said, here's my rating. X-Men Days of Future Past gets a 9.8 out of 10. What more can be said? I've said all I can say. Before I close out, I just want to say, if you watched up to this far, thank you all for watching Road to the New Mutants. I mean, you know, Days of Future Past is a movie that it makes me proud to be a filmmaker, and it makes me love film. I just say that. Now, it isn't quite on the length of Logan. I'll get to Logan later, but if Logan had never existed, this easily is the best X-Men film. And it is technically the best X-Men film, because Logan's not really an X-Men movie, but I mean, geez. That's really all I can say. Amazing acting, incredible directing, flawless freaking script. It's X-Men Days of Future Past. So, thank you all for watching Road to the New Mutants. And next time, it's time for wait, what's the next one? Deadpool. Yeah, Deadpool with Neely. Yeah, I switched up the schedule. Neely's going to be on Deadpool, so. Well, that being said, guys, see you all next time. I know this review was long, but I had to talk about a lot of things, so this movie means a lot to me, so. Thank you for watching. And the Tatumeister is signing out. Bye-bye.